What is up, everybody? We're back here for the NBA 2023 Conference Finals predictions, and we just got done with the second round, and the series all started off great. We had all series go to 6 games, but then once we got to the 6th game, the Nuggets absolutely were blowing out the Suns at halftime. I think that was 30-point margin in Phoenix at half. The Suns were just an abject disaster there. Monty Williams ends up getting fired, although they were able to win both prior games in Phoenix, and it was tied up at 2-2, but just Nikola Jokic and this deep Nuggets team was too good for them. I had the Nuggets winning in 7 in that one. They won in 6, but pretty accurate prediction by me, and Chris Paul did get injured. DeAndre Ayton was also out for Game 6 there. Then Warriors-Lakers. This was the one series I got wrong. I said Warriors in 6. Lakers ended up winning in 6, and Warriors just did not get enough production from their key players like Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson. Andrew Wiggins was even very inconsistent at times. Draymond wasn't fully there in this series either, and Curry wasn't as brilliant as the Sacramento series. And then add on to that, LeBron wasn't great, but he played a lot of minutes and was clutch at times. Then Anthony Davis just played a much more consistent series than we're accustomed to, played much better than in that Memphis series. And you had big-time players step up like Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, Lonnie Walker in Game 4. I mean, Games 1 and 4 were the two close games in the series, and they both went in the Lakers' way. So maybe if one of those goes the Warriors' way, then we end up getting a Game 7 here. Still, though, the Lakers seemed like the more dominant team, especially with that pull-away victory in Game 6 there. It just seemed like the Warriors didn't have enough talent or execution to get that one done there. So I will take my L, and the Lakers advance to the conference finals there. Then in the Eastern Conference, I had the Heat in 6 games, and I nailed this one over the Knicks. The Knicks just did not have enough. Jalen Brunson struggled to start off the series, but in the last 2 or 3 games, he was really cooking. Dropped 41 in Game 6. It just wasn't enough. Julius Randle was not great in this series, and Mitchell Robinson was not as dominant as in that Cleveland series. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly kind of disappeared near the end there. And then the Heat, I mean, Jimmy Butler played great in this series. Wasn't quite as dominant as in the Milwaukee series, but that is asking a lot out of him. He was still excellent. And then you just had a bunch of these Heat role players step up to the plate. We're talking about Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Kevin Love, and Kyle Lowry has been great throughout these playoffs. And then Eric Spoelstra as the coach, he's just asserted himself as perhaps the NBA's greatest coach at the moment. Miami Heat currently 6-0 at home, and they were just a better team down the stretch of these games. There were only a couple that were blowouts in this series, so the Heat advanced there as the 8 seed, a team that was a couple minutes away from losing to the Bulls at home in the play-in game, and now they're on to the conference finals in a rematch against the Celtics. This is the 3rd time in 4 years that we are getting this matchup, and both of the prior Eastern Conference Finals were split 1-1, so this one will be the trilogy here. We had the 76ers-Celtics series. I had the Celtics winning in 6. I did not know about Embiid's status. I did not think he would come back as soon as Game 2. The Sixers were still able to win Game 1 behind an excellent performance by James Harden. He dropped 40-plus in that game, including an iconic step-back game-winning 3 over Al Horford, and then he also dropped 40 in Game 4. But in the other games, especially the last 2, Game 6 and Game 7, he was horrible. Tyrese Maxey was good at points. He was more consistent than Harden, but he wasn't as good as he was in the Brooklyn series. And then Embiid, I know he was hampered with injury, but he only played a couple of good games in this series. Other than that, he was below his MVP standard. And then the Celtics also did not impressed me that much other than the Game 7 performance where Tatum drops 51. I must also point out that we had the Celtics minus 6.5 in Game 7, which was a winner there. Join our Betting Picks Discord, link in the description, as we've been very profitable, up over 15 units in the NBA playoffs so far, so definitely check that out, link in bio there. In other points of the series, Jason Tatum did not play very well, was not very consistent. Jaylen Brown played fine, and then you also had other role players step up. So the Celtics were able to wrap that one up in 7 there. So now that brings us to the current conference finals matchups. I'll start out in the Western Conference with the Nuggets and the Lakers. I think this one will be a great series, and I think it's incumbent on this Lakers team to steal one of the first 2 in Denver. Denver is 6-0 at home, and the Lakers have won both Game 1s that they've been a part of in the playoffs so far. They've been able to steal home court, and they've been 6-0 at home. That has been their strategy. They have been able to steal a game on the road and then just wrap it up in LA, winning all of their home games there. And I do not think they will be able to do that. I think that the Nuggets will be able to take both of these games at home. I think that one of them will be a blowout and one of them will come down to the wire. But I think that the Nuggets' youth and depth will propel them past the Lakers in this one. I think they will be a very hungry team, whereas the Lakers, I know they get a bit of rest coming into this one, but I think they will be very tired. I expect AD to be a bit worse than he was in the Warriors series, going up against a great front court for the Nuggets here, and I think LeBron will just have to be spectacular in this one for the Lakers to win. I still do not think it's going to be an easy job for this Nuggets team, as I think in the games in LA, the Lakers role players might be able to outplay the role players and bench for the Nuggets. So I'm going to say this one goes to 6 games, maybe even a 7th game. But if it goes to 7, I trust that Denver will get it done at home in altitude there. Still, my official prediction, Nuggets in 6 here. I think Nikola Jokic has been great throughout these playoffs, and it's going to come down to him versus Anthony Davis. But as long as he's able to hold his weight in that one and not let Anthony Davis be the most dominant player in the series, the rest of the Nuggets players, including Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, and former Laker champion Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they will be able to hold the fort down for the Nuggets. I think that they win all of their home games in this series and take out the Lakers in 6. And that one, now we get to the Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Last year, Miami had the home court being the 1 seed. Now the Celtics do. I had the Celtics winning in 7 games, and that prediction ended up coming true as the Celtics choked a Game 6 in Boston and then had to go to Miami, choked a big lead in Game 7, and Jimmy Butler had a 3-pointer late in the game for the lead, but unfortunately missed. In this one, I'm going to say that the Celtics have the narrow advantage, and I do not think they're playing as good as they did under Ime Udoka last year. They've kind of lost their defensive edge, and I think that will be huge against a very disciplined Heat team in this one, but I just think that their overall talent and chemistry will be too much for this Heat team. I think it's going to come down to the Adebayo matchup with Robert Williams in that one. If Adebayo is able to be dominant in the post as he has been throughout the playoffs thus far, I think that the Heat have a great chance in that one. But ultimately, on the perimeter, I think that Tatum and Jaylen Brown will just be too much for Jimmy Butler in this one. I know Butler's going to have a few great games in the series, so that's why I'm saying it goes to 7 games. But ultimately, the Celtics are the far superior team talent-wise. Heat culture and chemistry will have a big thing to say in this series, and ultimately, as in any series, it's going to come down to those close games, but give me the Celtics narrowly to win in 7 games there. So with that being said, let me know your guys' predictions for these series. Once again, I've got Nuggets in 6 and Celtics in 7. Let me know any thoughts you have on the playoffs at large as well, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.